Hi guys, Johnny Good here for RealHomeStudio.com. Today, taking a look at a walkthrough through a piece of lo-fi stock instrumental music written for the use of background within various pieces of media. We're taking a look through what makes the track tick, looking at its structure. A little bit later on, we'll be looking at the instruments and some of the effects which I've used to make it sound the way it does. Just before we dive straight in, I want to remind you guys, please to like, subscribe up to the channel here on YouTube. If you've got something to say, please do drop it in the comments box below. Okay, so here we are with a piece of lo-fi stock music. I've been doing some lo-fi stuff for the last sort of 2 or 3 months, just building up a bit of a catalogue of that within my portfolio. And I wanted to share this one with you guys today. One of my favourites from what I've made over the last few months. Funny enough, I don't think it's sold one licence. I've had other ones which I didn't rate as much, which have gone on and done all right and sold a few licenses. But for whatever reason, sometimes music and art's like that. You know, you just do something, you think, yeah, this is the one, I'm really pleased with it, and it doesn't do half as well as something which you did really quickly, which you don't really rate. But there you go, that's art and that's music. But let's have a look at the walkthrough today. I'm going to have us, as I said at the start, have a look at the structure of this thing, what makes it tick, and then I'll have a look also at some of the instruments which I've used, and some of the effects as well, just to give you guys a good idea of the genre, if that's something you're looking at getting involved with and making, either for your stock music or in the genre full stop. So I mean, the main thing about lo-fi is it's low fidelity. There's just a few elements which go into the pot which really are sort of audio signifiers. You've got sort of down tempo hip-hop beats, usually like between 80 and 100 BPM. You've got jazz chords, whether they're played on like piano or guitar, and you know, crackles and things which signify sort of low fidelity. At the moment I've got a vinyl from Isotope switched off, otherwise it'll just crackle through this video and drive us a bit nuts. But on the final version there's crackles running through it. Of course, if you want to do crackles without Isotope vinyl, you can just drop in a sample and just layer it in underneath. Anyway, let's dive into the actual arrangement itself, and let's have a little walkthrough and a talk through what's going on. So here's our jazz chords. That forms the whole bed of the track. On piano, a little bit of percussion coming in, and a vocal sample. Now those two elements, the vocal sample and the percussion, both straight out of Studio 1.5, just in their loops bin. Pretty much almost all of the percussion and the loops that I've used to build up the layers of this track all coming out of Studio 1. So there's a lot of cool stuff just to dive in there before you start looking elsewhere. There's a lot often within your DAW which you can use. And the sample here, the vocal sample, is just great. Works really well. Now we're into the track. As I said, I've got a few different layers here. I've got kick and a snare. I've got some sticks in a sample here. Got some claps as well. Another little sample there. See that one? I've just like taken the low end out, so it just sort of sits and does all the busy sort of high end information. Mainly hats and stuff. Of course, bass. Then we've got a counter line, just to keep moving the song along. A little bit of a hook. Got some backward whooshes coming in, which is going to take us into a new section. So we're now into a bit of a breakdown. Let's have a look at what's going on in this breakdown. The main thing, I think, the star of the show there is the wah guitar, which is really cool. We'll have a look at that effect in a little bit. Some different samples again there. This one actually coming from a synth. So a couple of different samples. We've still got that line running in the background. On an organ there, and using a different piano. guitar cleaning up so that effect comes off, and the guitar comes right to the front. Nice little bass slide there. Now we've got some full drums coming in, courtesy of Addictive Drums. That track along. You can see we've got a lot of percussive elements all happening at the end of this track here. We're kind of, reprised back to where we started. So there's the piece itself. Okay, let's go back to the start, and as promised, let's dive into some of the instruments that we've got used. So if we just go up to the top again, we'll have a look at some of these key instruments, and also, possibly even more importantly, what effects I've used. One in particular, which we'll have a look at in a minute, which makes a real big difference to these tracks. So at the moment, we're just running 2 pianos. Do you know what? I was looking at this morning thinking, I don't even know why I've got 2 pianos, but I think I was using it more as a template and just happened to have sounded good, just ran with it. But I've got soft piano, which is free within Labs from Spitfire Audio. And I'm also using good old Mini Grand from Air. Pro Tool users will be very familiar with that. But actually they do sound nice together. It's just a little bit more sort of a dancier sound. Again, we drop this sample in. That's from within Studio 1.5. Bass, I'm keeping things really simple. I'm using Presence from Studio 1. So again, really easy stuff. The drums again are within Studio 1. That's the Impact XT, which just comes bundled. This piano's from Addictive Keys, and I've also got a little synth on there as well. That's also coming from within Studio 1. So have a look at this guitar. So this guitar is really plain actually. If we just find where the guitar track is, and we take off this plug-in movement, you can hear what's going on. So it's just me playing guitar. The main sound, you can hear the defining sound of it is going through the wah plug-in, which I reviewed a few weeks back, Effector, probably when I was making this track, which is really cool. Just on a preset. But what makes the difference is movement from output. Let's just bring that up. And this is the plugin I was talking about at the start. You can see actually I've got multiple instances of movement across a lot of the pianos, and it's such a cool plugin. I've reviewed this. I'll make sure I leave a card so you guys can link and check it out. I think it's around £100, but it does come bundled with, I believe still, with PreSonus products. So, if you're buying a not too expensive PreSonus product, then this will come bundled in, and it's a really cool movement plugin. It's kind of like a constantly evolving, moving delay, reverbs, and with loads and loads of different presets. So you can see like they automatically will be like panning left and right and forward and back and just doing really interesting stuff. And for this kind of music, it's really, really useful. It just sits stuff where you want it. Works very well for lo-fi stuff, lots of delays and things, but just a bit more interesting than a delay. So well worth checking out. It works really well there because it sends the wire right back and then comes right forward. Drums at the end there, any sort of realistic kit will be fine. Just another little beat there. Again, that would have been taken from Studio One. So you can see just from walking through that, so many of those elements have just come from within the DAW with a few exceptions. One of the things I take away from it is that Movement's a great plugin if you want to be working, doing lo-fi stuff. But definitely, you know, delays, that kind of stuff, delays and reverbs to create moods and space and sort of 3D elements within the mix. Also one which I haven't mentioned or used in the playback is using vinyl, which you'll hear now. I've just got running on this loop. But I've also done a review of vinyl. I'll leave a card up there as well so you guys can check that out. But that gives it that really lo-fi, you know, grainy sound. Again, as I mentioned at the top of the video, let me switch it off so we don't hear it all the way through whilst I'm talking. You can just find a loop, you know, find a free to use loop that's that you can use for your material and just drop that in. You know, that's an easy way to do it. But Isotope Vinyl's free, you know, perfect for lo-fi stuff. One other plugin that can be really useful for lo-fi is this. Again, another one I review, Tape Cassette 2. And that can be really awesome just for getting very quick lo-fi sounds. Actually, I think I'm using a lo-fi preset, you know, on here. So that's another great plugin to reach in for, and anything that kind of distresses and makes the sound really interesting. You can do a lot of lo-fi stuff really with just stock elements that you've got, but one or two of those plugins just make things a bit more fun and can increase your workflow, particularly, as I mentioned a couple of times already, a plugin like Movement, which I find really, really useful. But again, take away those elements if you're into doing lo-fi stuff. Think low fidelity, you think BPM between 80 and 100. You can think of distress sounds using things like vinyl crackles, that kind of stuff, and jazzy chords, you know, guitars, pianos, organs, that kind of thing. Guys, if you want to learn more about making stock music, I've got a playlist right here on YouTube. You can check out all the different genres and I'll walk you through them. You can also check that out on the free courses section on realhomestudio.com. And if you want to know more about getting involved in stock music and how I got started making money from my music within stock music and various different libraries, then do sign up to realhomestudio.com. There's a link below, and you'll be enrolled within a free 3-part workshop, one of which is all about stock music, how to get started, and how you can start making money from your compositions from your home studio. I hope you found that little walkthrough useful today, guys. If you did, please remember to like, subscribe, but most importantly, go have yourselves a great day.